Hello and welcome to my channel to plan for. Today I want to do another ink log check-in. This is essentially currently inked, but also a little evaluation of my last currently inked and other ink topics. Okay, so let's start with looking back. So this was last month's my currently inked, and I have to say I was really happy with all the inks. At the beginning I could not quite understand why Erebus Crater from Colorverse was one of the winner inks of the last color event, but after a couple of days I completely fell in love with this ink. I had it once inked up in my Pilot Custom 823, but then I also inked it up in my Pelican M809, and it performed wonderfully in both pens, and yeah, it's definitely an ink I will enjoy a lot in the future as well. Then I also had inked up Xiongyo from Pilot. This ink came out, I think, in 2025 as part of the Suzuki line. When I bought this ink, I was a bit disappointed because at the store where I bought it, I had a swatch card, and on this paper it looked brown, and I thought I would buy brown ink, but then when I swatched it at home, it was very purple, greenish, purple with a green sheen. And yeah, so that was originally a problem because I had wrong expectations, but now I inked it up again, and I had forgotten my initial disappointment, and as all the inks of the Suzuki line, it's a wonderful flowing ink, performs really well, and I could enjoy it very much because I did not have this expectation anymore to get a brown ink. But yeah, it's interesting color, liked it very much. My favorite ink of the last month is definitely the Colorverse ink, the Colorverse Wearing Gold ink, the Raven, and I had it in, or still have it in, my Esterbrook Raven. I inked up the converter 3 times in total, refilled it a couple times because I did enjoy it so much, and it's not completely written dry yet, but I want to keep it longer inked up this pairing. So I think once it's written dry, I might ink it up again with the same ink because I really enjoy this pairing. The ink I liked the least was Blush from Diamine. It was part of the Inkvent 2025, and it was not my type of ink for 2 reasons. First of all, I'm just not a pink person, that's not my color, and secondly, it's a rather light ink, and I could only enjoy it when it was in a really wet pen. I even switched from the medium to the broad nib of my Lamy All Stars during the month because I had a hard time reading it or being able to read the ink with the medium nib. So yeah, and this light ink problem is also something we will see with the current ink lineup. Okay, so I have this time more inks than usual, so let's see, let's get started. So I have my pipette, dip pen, then my Kakimori brass tip pen, and I broke my honey muddler or honey spoon, so I have tried with this glass little glass tool. Let's see, if that works out as well. This month is a bit special, or this ink lineup is a bit special, because I will be going on my big vacation of the year. I will be going to Korea for 3 weeks. And I know I want to take 2 pens with me, 2 fountain pens. And usually I don't care about water resistance of an ink or not, or how water resistant an ink is. But in my travel journal, I just made last year the experience that it's very easy to get some water drops on it. I mean, travel journaling for me is something I do on the go during the day. Might just take a little break at a cafe or sit down on a park bench and write a little bit, and it's easy to have some drops of water getting to the paper, and therefore I really wanted to take 2 pigment inks with me so that I don't have to worry too much about that. I also knew I don't want to take black pigment ink because it's too boring. I don't know. I think vacation holidays deserves a little bit more fun. And that's why I came up with this 2 inks from the Inkvent 2025, the ink Burr, and it's a pigment shimmer ink. It's the ink I have written the title with up here, and also this document ink from Diatramentis, and it's sepia brown, I guess that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, so let's start swatching the inks. So as this one is a pigment shimmer ink, need to shake it up a little bit, get the shimmer agitated here. And let's see, how did I do this last week? Yes. Get a few drops of ink on the paper. Let's see how this new ink swatch tool will work for me. I'm very sad that I broke my honey spoon, but I guess this will do the job as well. Okay. So then I have this ink, not in this pen, but in this one. So this is, what did I write first? Yes, I write ink is from Lamy, and it's called Burr. Pigment shimmer. And oh, of course, the pen. And the pen is Lamy All-Star with a medium nib. So I put this in this Lamy All-Star for 2 reasons. Well, I guess 3 different reasons. First of all, I think that's a very sturdy, travel-friendly pen. I don't have to be too precious about this pen. It's easy to take along. I do have several different nibs for my Lamy, Safari, or All-Star, doesn't matter. They just, you can use the same nibs on them. So I wanted to see with which nib this ink works the best. And also a little of a silly reason, I wanted to take 2 matching pens with me, and therefore the Lamy All-Star is a good choice. And also it's a pigment ink, and I don't know how it will affect the pen, the converter. And I mean, I love my Lamy pens, Safari or All-Star, but they are not the most expensive pens, so I would be heartbroken if it ruins a pen. I mean, I have to say I've never had any issues with Pigment or document ink, but I usually consider a little bit in which pen I would put it. I mean, I might not put it in a demonstrator pen because I don't know if it would stay in the barrel or not. So yeah, those are several reasons why I thought this would be a good choice. So we have this one here. Then next I have, for the pairing for my travel journal, I mean, this ink is not a shimmer ink, but I think for me personally, I made the experience that it's for pigment inks always good to shake them up a little bit. And sometimes you can see at the bottom that the ink looks a bit different color-wise. So, does not hurt to get the ink a little bit moving. Okay. Lid. Let's see how this looks. So as I said, 2 pigment or waterproof inks I wanted to take with me for my travel journal. And of course, if I only take 2 inks with me, I want them to match somehow. And I think, well, for me this brown ink will be my basic writing ink, and the blue for accents or highlights or titles, or I don't know if I have something special I want to pop off the page. And so we have here, the ink is by Diatramentis, and I'm just gonna write it in French here because that's the way it's written on the bottle. It's a bottle I bought in France, or actually I got it off Vinted, but more about that just in a second. And I have this in my Lamy All-Star. And as this is a super wet ink, I have it in a fine nib. Okay, so this is actually the second bottle of this ink I have, and not because I used up the first bottle, but because I had to throw it away. There was something wrong with the batch. This first bottle I had feathered like crazy. I mean, I had it in an extra fine pen. It feathered on the good Tomoe River paper, on every single paper I tried. It was unusable. I kept it a while, but then I said, well, there's no point of keeping an ink which I won't be able to use, so it's pointless. And then I saw somebody selling this ink on Vinted for a very good price, think less than half what is the price at the store. And so I said, well, I really wanted this ink. I liked the color so much, but it was just not usable. And I I saw somebody else share her experience online with, having the same issues, and many people commenting that for them the ink works perfectly fine. So I was then at the end convinced that it was an issue with that specific batch of inks and not a problem in general with this one. So I just said, okay, let's give it a second try. It was very cheap as I got it off Vinted, and said, okay, one more time, and if it still doesn't work out, I will accept it. But this one is fine. I mean, you see here, we'll hold it up to the camera a little later on, but no feathering, no issues here. So I'm happy I got it again, and for me this brown and blue goes together perfectly well, and it's a bit more interesting than only black. I don't know, for a travel journal, black, I don't know, it was a bit too boring for me. As I will be in Korea for 3 weeks, I definitely have to take some ink with me. I expect to write each pen dry, well, multiple times, and with the diamine ink, it's handy. I can just take this little bottle with me, and for the Tremendous ink, I would just put some ink in a sample vial and take it with me, so I have ink to refill. Okay, then I have 2 of my regular pens, and well, let's just get with this, or start with this one. It doesn't really matter. This Martian Dust was the first ink of the 2025 color event, and it was such an amazing start for this ink advent calendar. I love this color, and I had not inked it up so far. I only swatched it, but didn't have it in a pen. And now I finally got it inked up. Actually, I did ink up my pens a couple days ago, so I have written with all the pen and ink combinations a few times, so I already know they will make me very happy. They all work out very nicely. There were in the color went 2025 2 red inks. The other one was called, well, not, there were more red inks, but 2 very similar red inks. The other one is called Blood Falls, but actually in writing they are very different, at least in the pens I have used them. Actually, I have had them both in the same pen, and yeah, let's get to that. So the ink is from Colors, and it's called Martian Dust. And I forgot to leave some space here. Too late. And the pen is my Pilot Custom 823 with a medium nib. Okay. Yeah, Blood Falls I also had in my Pilot Custom, and I compared writing samples between those 2 pens, and they look very different in writing. In the swatch, they, well, once I it's dry, I can flip to it. I can try now. It's actually swatched in here. Just have to make sure. Well, I have to flip the page, so need to let it dry a little bit more, otherwise we'll make a bit of mess later on. Okay, so this is my one of my regular journaling inks. And then I have a fourth ink. It's also from the color Vent. And it is another ink which I did not so much enjoy in the swatch. But I have written with it since a couple of times, and it is an ink I enjoy so much in writing. So it's again a proof for me that swatching an ink, it's nice. Well, for me it shows me something, but the writing experience might be so different for me that I really need to have an ink in a pen, write with it for a while. That's the other thing. So it's not enough for me just to write a few words. I really need to use an ink for some time to be able to form an opinion. So and I have this ink in a pen I recently got. So let's start out with the ink. Colorverse, and it's called Sojourner. Can't pronounce this really. Sojourner. And the pen is my Pelican M809 in black matte with a fine nib. This combination is amazing. This is the 6th ink I have in this pen. I inked it up 5 times before, wrote it dry, and now every single time I put in there a new ink, a different ink, just because I want to get to know this pen a little bit better. And so far, this is my favorite ink in this pen. I think with every ink I chose, my decisions got better. Every single ink I enjoyed more than the previous one. Before that I had, it's not quite true that I had in here, in my last ink log check-in, I had here the Pilot Irisuzuku Shungo ink in this pen, but afterwards I inked it up once this was written dry with Shinkai from Pilot Irisuzuku, and that was an ink I really enjoyed very much in this pen. Flow was so nice, but this one is even better. So I have here my pens. As a carryover, I still have in my Estabrook Raven, the Bearingle ink, the Raven. I don't need to swatch that again, but it's also a combination I truly enjoy, and I think that's a pairing I will keep for a while. As we are now in spring, I wanted to use some spring colors. I mean, this lineup is not very much spring. And I tried with this ink from Dominant Industry. It's called Seaweed. And I couldn't find a combination that works for me. The problem is I don't like light inks. And I'm just gonna show you this ink, because in the swatch it actually does not look that light, but in writing I tried it with different pens, even with my Twisby Eco in the medium nib, which I think is at the moment my wettest pen. But I was not able to read this ink. I have to say, I don't like light inks because my eyesight is not good enough for them. I have such a hard time reading light inks. I like the way they look, but with my eyes it's just not working. And oops. So what I did then, and that's why I can't really put this as part of my currently inked, I put this ink in the cartridge and added a tiny drop of black. Let's see. So it's not the original ink anymore. It's a mix, but now at least I can read it. But it lost its spring brightness. Got muted down. Maybe I should have put in there a drop of a dark green, not black. Just gonna show you. So that's basically what it looks like now, and now it works for me, for my eyes. Now I can read it. Yeah. So let's put this here. So I have this in, let's start out with the easy part. In which pen? That's my Sailor Pro Gear. In Imperial Black with a medium nib. So now to the difficult stuff. What is the ink? The ink is, I would say, 4/5 probably, or maybe even more, I don't know. Dominant Industry. Seaweed, yes. That's 1/5. I think that's Pilot Black. It's the black that comes with the Pilot Custom 823. This bottle, I don't know, I'm sure it has some special name, but yeah, with this little ink mix I can read it. Maybe one day I will have a pen that is even wetter than my Twisby Eco, and I will be able to use this ink pure without anything mixed in and be able to read it. As I said, I tried it in a couple different pens. So the only thing that actually did work out for me was when I used my Hokuro dip pen. don't think I have enough ink in here. Dip. And that's a medium nib. If it would write like that in any of my pens, I could work with it. But in all pens, I had it inked up, or not inked, I only tipped the nib. I didn't actually fill it, but I tried it with different ones. And even if when you only like tip the nib into the ink, it's even wetter usually than when it only comes through the cartridge or converter, and did not work with any of those pens for me, which is sad. I mean, luckily I don't have too many light inks, only a couple. That was before I knew how much I struggle with being able to read them. Still thinking about how I can make them usable for me, or if I want to stash them, sell them to somebody who can actually use them. So this is my currently inked, and it's a bit more than my usual ink lineup. Usually I only have 4 pens, but this time I have 5, and I think this will be my ink lineup definitely well into May. I don't know, we'll see. I re-ink my pens frequently with the same ink, and then at some point I get tired of the inks, and then it's time for me to make a new ink lineup, and then I just try to write them all dry, and then pick a new colorway for my ink lineup. Okay, so this is what I have currently inked, and I just wanted to show you still the samples of the ink swatches of the color went. So I think we should be fine. So here I have inked all my, just gonna do it like this, all my color went inks, and here we have Martian Dust and Blood Falls, which on the swatch, I mean, this has a lot of green sheen, but still they looked very similar to me, but in writing they are quite different. Then the other thing here is Sojourner, which in this swatch I put there way too much ink. It looks almost black. And here again we see when we have a lot of ink on the page, it's becoming kind of black, but in writing it is definitely a purplish color. I mean, it's a dark purple, but it's very clear that it's purple. I mean, this is the good old Tomoe River paper, so it has a lot more sheening than my Traveler's Notebook Journal with the Midori paper, or even my other good impression inserts with Tomoe River paper, but this one has a lot more sheening. I think that the other one is just the new good paper, but it sheens quite a bit less. Yes, I think that's all I wanted to say about my current or my new ink lineup, my travel notebook inks. Oh, yes, I remembered one more thing. For my travel journal, I want to use my Louise Carmen. So actually, you might have seen this before. This was Christmas present I made for myself and my travel companion for my Korea, or our Korea vacation. So I got us matching notebooks, so we might travel journal together. And just put this aside for the moment. And when you buy a Louise Carmen, it comes, you can choose some inserts. And here are the inserts I chose. And as you see, I was a bit disappointed with the paper of those Louise Carmen inserts because it's medium fountain pen friendly. So I tried a few different inks here, and some of them bled through, some of them are fine. Let's see which one are the bad ones. Row number 4. Oh yeah, for example, this Forever ink Butterscotch from Diamine. Yeah, Diamine bled through quite badly. And also Diamine Burr, but this first pen test I had it in the dip pen, which puts down a lot more ink. And the second one is actually then written with my Lamy All-Star. And yeah, those are the 2 lines written with the actual fountain pen I have the inks in, so they're both fine. But I was a bit disappointed, and I know that I definitely will not get any Louise Carmen inserts to replace those. I'll get something other from some other kind of brand, because fountain pen friendly paper is something really important for me, and I don't want to have to consider which inks I can use and which ones not. But maybe let's give it a try also. Let's see what this, no, not this one. What the Pelican with the purple ink does. I could imagine this one is also a dangerous one. Let's see. We have here colors. And it's the Pelican. Let's see if, yeah, I mean, with that level of bleed through, I could live. I mean, we see a couple little dots here at the beginning. Here's one. So yeah, that's fine, but it's definitely a surprise. I expected more from this paper. Just put this here. Let's see if we have bleed through here. Well, I mean, in comparison, of course, nothing with the writing. Here where I put down a lot of ink for the swatch, yeah. But writing wise, nothing at all, but good at Tomorrow River paper. And I guess there is a reason why so many people, including myself, are sad it is not produced anymore. Yeah, okay, can close that. Okay, so then now I think I really got everything covered I wanted to say. And here is my currently inked or ink line up or whatever you want to call it for the next few weeks till I'm tired of them. So my ink line up, re-inking of pens does not follow any monthly calendar. It's basically when I want to change, it's time to change to other inks. Okay, then thank you very much. Hope this was fun, entertaining, interesting for you, and hope you stop by again for my future videos. See you. Bye.